Hey, so you're thinking about moving to Jupiter and the surrounding area, but one of your concerns is what homeowners insurance looks like and the recent changes that have been made in that industry for us. Well, we are going to dive into that in this video, so stay tuned. That's right, Florida homeowners are facing a storm they didn't see coming, and that's not the forecast, it's insurance. How cheesy is that? Hey, listen, my name's Andy, and I work over at the Andy Johnson Group with eXp Realty, and if this is your first time checking out our videos, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you can get notified anytime we post new content. And also, you're gonna wanna stay tuned till the end of the video. I'm gonna tell you a little tip and trick about insurance. And listen, if you're not buying cash, you're gonna have to have insurance when you're down here. If you are buying cash, you still probably want it. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about what's causing the insurance crisis down here, what steps are being taken to correct it, and then like I said at the very end, I'm going to tell you something that you definitely need to be made aware of. So let's dive into this. All right, so obviously a great place to start is what is causing this problem? What has caused our insurance costs to double or triple for some individuals in certain cases? And there's really no one answer. There's three main causes that we're going to see that are resulting from that. So number one is going to be the frequency of natural disasters and the cost that those natural disasters are coming in at in the state of Florida. You know, number two is when those natural disasters or when fires, floods, anything happens to a home, the cost of rebuild. I mean, folks, if you've done any renovations in your home or if you've just walked into Home Depot or Lowe's, you can see the difference in what it costs for materials. Oh my gosh, you know, plywood is way more expensive. I remember when you could get a premium gallon of paint for 20 bucks. Now the cheapest paint you can buy is $45 a gallon. And so that is also increasing costs. One other big thing that has caused increases that most people don't know about is the litigation that homeowners put against the insurance companies. Did you know that Florida represents only 9% of the insurance claims in the US? However, we represent 79% of insurance lawsuits. How crazy is that? And those lawsuits and attorneys' costs and everything that go with it, everything that goes with those really causes our insurance to increase. So as a homeowner down here, how can you see that affect you? Well, it's going to be in three main ways. Number one, obviously, is price. We already talked about it. Especially recently, we already have a higher homeowner premium down here than a lot of other places in the country. But in the last couple of years, we've really seen that increase. And one of the reasons, and problem number two, is the lack of carriers that you can even insure with. You know, a lot of insurance carriers, State Farm, Allstate, companies like that, won't even take a lot of the properties that are down here. You have to meet very specific requirements to insure with them. Age of roof, proximity to the coast, all of these things, or these companies won't even consider you to write a policy. Another big thing is going to be gaps in coverage. Increasingly, flood and wind is no longer being included in these policies. So that's something that you definitely have to watch out for as well. So the nice thing is there has been some legislative reform. Senate Bill 2-A was passed back in 2022, which stopped AOBs, that's assignment of benefits. There was a lot of fraud happening due to those. It also eliminated one-way attorney fees and then reduced insurer payout times as well, were a couple key things that came from that legislation. You know, they're still looking for answers from a legislation to correct the problem or make it better, but there's been nothing else that's come out so far. Now, I will tell you one thing that is nicer down here. You know, we've got some great insurance agents that we work with, and we are being told that more carriers are coming back into the state, and we have kind of seen insurance prices plateau. It's not that they're never gonna go up again, of course they are, but we're not seeing the jumping increases that we were before. Still though, we have super high insurance costs compared to a lot of other areas. So what can you do about that, you know, when you're shopping for a home to make sure you're getting the best policy available to you? All right, so number one goes without saying, this should be anything that you ever do, especially down here in Florida, and that is shop around. Understand what your options are. You know, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're in a 1950s home that's close to the water and you go to State Farm, the only policy that State Farm is going to be able to write for you is a Citizens policy, right? State Farm doesn't have other carriers. It's State Farm or it's Citizens. That's how it works. And State Farm can write Citizens because they can't write your policy under their State Farm name. And it's not just State Farm that's like that. I'm not trying to separate State Farm out. They're a fantastic company and they've got some great rates down here for the right home, but you just need to understand what's happening. You know, sometimes you might want to look at a broker as well that has some carriers that are less known by you. You still want to investigate them, make sure they're going to cover you in the way that you want, but that's how you're going to get some better prices. Using Citizens as a last result is often a great route to go too, especially now because more and more they are doing things, mainly raising prices, to keep people out of the Citizens pool. If you don't know, Citizens is the state insurer. Basically, if you can't get insurance from anyone else, Citizens has to take you. So that's what Citizens is if you've never heard of them before. The other thing that you can do, but you really need to run numbers, is look at improving the property, you know, the age of your roof. But let's face it, your roof is 10 years old or 15 years old, you got 10 years of life, it's not gonna be worthwhile to replace it. You know, also looking at installing impact windows or accordion shutters can be a savings, but you really need to look at whether that money is there or not. You know, often to do a home, you know, not a super large home, it's not crazy to spend $50,000 on impact windows, but if that's only gonna save you $1,000 a year, it takes 50 years to pay that off. If that's the only reason you're doing impact windows, that math doesn't translate, right? So make sure you have an understanding of that, but there are some things there that you can absolutely do to try and cut some costs. And making sure you understand the improvements that you can make to your home so that you can lower cost is super important. Make sure you've got a great insurance person, or always you can call us and we can let you know or connect you with somebody that can answer those questions for you too. So finally, bonus tip and trick and watch out for is going to be the PACE program. Allows you to make improvements to your property, and it can allow you to finance those, or sometimes there are grants and things like that that you can get. PACE is a wonderful way to make improvements to your home and be able to finance those. What I will tell you though is I've seen some PACE programs, and this is a warning to you, that the interest rates were out of this world. They did not make sense. So make sure you understand what you're getting into, especially if you start looking at solar stuff. Side note, different video, but if you're thinking about solar, please call me. I'd love to tell you some information about that. Also, there are other programs that do offer grant money that you should know about. We've done other videos on them. Look at them, or hey, message me below, give me a call, and we'll tell you about those too. You know, insurance is something that most people don't want to have, but is a necessity for most of us, right? Sometimes you can self-insure and there's different options out there, but if you are required to have insurance, keeping that insurance at the most affordable level possible while getting you the best coverage is absolutely key. Whether you're looking for a condo or a single family home, you know, what insurance you have makes a difference, and understanding what that looks like is a big difference too. You know, did you know the difference between buying new construction versus old construction? Because it's massive. Did you know that most of the time in a condo, you don't have to insure the exterior, you're only insuring the interior? You know, having those costs in alignment and understanding why things are the way they are, why they work the way they work, is absolutely key. Always want to keep you in the know. If you have any questions at all, please reach out. Thanks for checking out the video.